All right, good.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, welcome to another week of perspective. Wait. Sorry, it's apparently become a thing now. It's like every
for you to
episode.
crack a drink. Okay.
Now I've done it in like 3 episodes. Oh, all right. Well,
We're showing that Ryan has a problem.
shut up. It's just this. It's the COVID thing. I'm stuck here. It's a problem.
Yeah, it's fair.
But thank you for joining us for another week. We got another guest with us. But before we introduce him, Keegan, how you doing? This is our first recording after Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. My stomach is stretched too far. Just did a round of leftovers like an hour ago, and I want to die because I ate too much. But it was nice. It was our first year in 4 years not doing Friendsgiving, so it was very odd. It was nice spending just some quality time with just my wife, but still, it's not tradition anymore for Thanksgiving for us just to be the two of us.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
How was yours?
Mine was good. We did a Friendsgiving. There was like 5 of us, and we all I luckily just kind of got invited last minute because I happened to have quarantined myself that they were all doing. So I got to join them, and it was Sam and Nicole and two of their other friends, and they made a really good turkey and some stuffing and mac and cheese. It was really good.
Awesome.
It was a good night. Yeah. Keegan, do you want to introduce our guest?
Yes. Everyone, welcome Hammond.
Hello.
Hammond, you're Hamface on Instagram, correct?
Yeah. Hamface, Instagram, Twitter, Board Game Geek. Find me in the places.
All of the places. So Hammond is a person I started following really early on Instagram when I was getting back into it and posting board game content. And then you and I've chatted a little bit in Messenger, and I tried playing Digital Root with you online before I messed up and kicked myself out of the game.
The amount of times that has happened to everyone, I think. It's just not great for turn-based play.
I agree. It feels better like getting on Discord and doing a group game together online.
Yeah.
For sure. So, Hammond, let's do a quick little typical gamer interview.
Sure.
Because we like getting to know all the people we follow on Instagram and just hearing kind of their gamer journey, if you want to make this really cheesy. Have you always been a gamer? Or is this something kind of more recently that you've gotten attached to as a hobby?
No, it's definitely something that's always been in my life. Growing up, we always played board games at home, mostly mass market stuff. We had some like Scotland Yard and some other older well-known games just kicking around. But it's something that's sort of always been around. My brother and I have always played games, and then with our cousins as well. And it's obviously it made the leap to sort of more hobbyist games, sort of late 2000s, somewhere around there. Did the Catan thing that everyone does. Catan Ticket to Ride were kind of my jumping off points. And here I am.
And getting into that, so outside of board game, you do theater, correct?
Yeah, I do some musical theater. Yeah.
Was there any connection there? As in, like, with the people that you did theater, did they do board gaming, or did the board gaming people?
No, not at all. I got into theater late, I suppose, like well after university. It was just something that I fell into. I never did singing or anything. I never did drama even as a subject in school. Somehow I ended up doing it. But even I've kind of brought board games into musical theater with the people, like we're I haven't done a show for about a year now because of general global reasons. But last year we were like sitting backstage, and I brought in like Just One and Where Words and Fake Artist Goes to New York, like fun little things that you could play backstage in 5 minutes in between scenes and that kind of thing. yeah, I know that a lot of theater-minded people sort of have that sort of board games on the side hobby, either like RPG or tabletop kind of stuff. Yeah.
A lot of the improvers that I was doing improv shows with are big D&D people, and brought in One Night Ultimate Werewolf with them and Coup, and they love those because they're easy to role play. So theater kids make the best storyteller game players, I think.
For sure.
Were you also a video game fan, or has it always been more of like the manual board game style gaming?
I've definitely been a on and off video game fan. I think that's what kind of propelled me into sort of modern hobbyist games, sort of around, as I said, around like 2009, 2010. It's kind of when games were becoming more like multiplayer solitaire in a way. Like everyone had to have their own consoles. There was like Let's Couch Co-op, and I wanted that interaction between people, and then started looking into what board games are doing now, and I really I think I enjoy that more than I ever did playing video games. But
I've been playing video games since I was early middle school and stuff, and I think I've probably enjoyed more board gaming now than I did video gaming, because I guess video gaming, a lot of it did multiplayer one, so playing with people, so getting to actually play board games, in person and stuff. I found a lot more enjoyment. Not that I still play video games, but just that enjoyment that the board games created was.
I don't know if you find the same, Ryan, but I find the act of playing board games really reminds me of that going around to your friend's house after school and like playing Micro Machines or playing Mario Kart, or it kind of brings back that interaction that we had as kids, but we don't really get that as adults in the same way anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. That was like, I remember like one of my early memories growing up, like 2 or 3, having a Super Nintendo controller in my hand and playing Mario with my dad. So like I've always had games in my life, but I remember there was like a wall that hit one time where like video games just weren't doing anything for me at all anymore. And then switching into board games really filled the gap in a way, but then also just took over it entirely. So I still play video games too, but if I have the choice when I'm with people, I rather sit with them and play a board game than play a couch co-op game even.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay. I was going to ask so obviously you got into the modern stuff, and we can see you got your nice collection behind you there.
This is just this. There's more that goes around. There's more over there.
Okay.
Oh my god!
And then there's more in that far corner. That's the bad games corner.
The bad games corner. I love it.
There's a lot of monopolies over there. My partner is an avid Monopoly player.
Ooh.
I don't know how I ended up with someone like that now. But yes. They all sit in the corner over there.
And so, is there a game in your collection that you will never get rid of, and one that you'll always be playing?
I think I probably have to. I always go back to Puerto Rico. I find it. Yeah, it's kind of a happy place for me, I suppose. It was kind of my first. I researched this and looked into this heavier game, and really sort of delved into it. It's obviously a little bit problematic in theme, but no, it's a great game, and I appreciate it for what it is. And
perfect. Do you have a game currently that, unless this is Puerto Rico, also for that, but do you have a current favorite game?
I think Food Chain Magnet's probably still at the top of my list.
Take that, Ryan. We got another one on our side.
Although there is another game that's probably vying for that position, which actually we will talk about with our topic.
Okay.
Perfect. Which I think that's actually a perfect transition into it then. So Hammond came up with a great topic, which was very difficult to think about, at least for me, which is games that you didn't initially like, or maybe were just lukewarm about, that the more you've played, the more they've grown on you, which is awesome, because I feel like usually with board gamers, we're very much either this did something for me or it didn't, and then we move on. giving games second chances, I feel like, is really hard, especially with how much is coming out.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's really worthwhile, as we will soon find out, especially with Hammond's top game, apparently, that might be taking over his favorite spot. And since Hammond, you came up with the suggestion, let's have you kick off the list.
Okay, so it was I was speaking with you before we started recording, but it was harder after I had a couple of ideas, and then as I thought about it, it was actually hard to think of things that I'd initially bounced off and come back to later on. It was a lot easier to think of games that I'd played to death or I just got rid of and never came back to. But the first one that came to mind is I think it's on the shelf behind me somewhere. I can't do reverse image. over in the green section over here is Power Grid. Okay. I remember going to when Australia got its first PAX Australia in like 2013, somewhere around that. Mm-hmm. We were very late to the we still don't really have many conventions, but I remember going to the hall, and there were some board games there. Definitely wasn't the focus of what's going on at PAX there. Getting some of my friends to be like, I've heard Power Grid's great. Let's just try and learn it from the rulebook. Bad mistake. Don't do that. As usually the self-appointed board game teacher, as I'm sure most of us are that are, us three here that are probably more involved than other people that are just playing games. It was just a terrible time. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't get the fun of it. I didn't feel the excitement of the auctions. It was just a trudge. Like, it was not great. Came back to it a few years later, in the right sort of environment, sat down, thought about play with people that were really into that kind of, they were just competitive. They were interested in the auctions. They played it well. And that really, I think the experience, I think almost all of my suggestions, the initial experience is what turned me off in the first point. And that was mostly based on the people that I was playing with rather than the game itself.
Yeah, sure. I feel like people take for granted how important it is with a group. Like, especially depending on the game style too. Like, if you have a game that involves a lot of bluffing and you're playing with a bunch of people that hate telling lies, like, it totally ruins the game.
You definitely need to pick the right people and the right game.
Yeah,
sure.
Especially games that are like maybe also that are a bit more cutthroat, right? That it does maybe require someone to be like, you do kind of need to be that meanness to like have that competitive, where some people just won't do it, right? And it just
is Power Grid, because I haven't played Power Grid yet and I've only watched some videos on it, but it gets pretty cutthroat in terms of like the auction, right?
Yeah, the auction is an interesting one to start with, but it because it's like kind of route building, area control as well, just with the blocking. I think the thing that puts most people off Power Grid is that a lot of people say it's mathy. Mm-hmm. It's really not that hard. It's like adding 10 or 20 and then maybe a couple of 3s and 4s. As friends and I like to call it, it's the game where you always have $1 short from what you need. And that's what leads to the fun of it. I think if you've got people that are willing to sort of just play auctions fast and loose, just what feels right. But it's when people are seeing, they go, I can only spend 14 because I need $12 left over to buy these resources. Oh, man. It just ruins the fun.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Sure. Okay.
Great.
Power Grid. I don't think I've played that one yet.
No, we need to get it to the table at some point.
Yeah, it's definitely a classic for a reason.
It's
not going to go anywhere. I don't think you'll.
No. It's funny because like when people say, "Oh yeah, like I played Monopoly and stuff," I'm like, okay. There's better economic games and stuff. Just go to Power Grid. Even though I haven't played it yet, I always say like go try Power Grid. It's probably more fun than Monopoly will be. A lot less of the luckness with the rolling of the dice and just wanting to punch each other by the end of that game. But yeah. Okay. One I gotta play. Well, Keegan?
Yeah. Who's up next? Go, Keegan.
I'll go. So I'll do my quick honorable mention because I've only played this game once, but it's a game I feel like I should like. That's Formosa T. I've only got to play it once so far, and I've watched videos and read the rule book multiple times just to get more into it. The rule book is fine. I think there's some translation issues with the rule book. There's some things aren't clear, which are cleared on BGG because the designer had to make an official FAQ page to answer all the questions people were asking. But I want to like the game more than I did my first playthrough because I feel like it's something that will hit right, but for some reason it wasn't resonating. But my actual number 3, which might surprise you, Ryan, is a game that I first played with you, and I did like. I think you liked it more than I did, but then we played it a bunch, and it grew on me a lot, and that's Res Arcana.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Such a good game.
It's very, very good. It's the first time we played it, I thought, like, I enjoyed it because I think we played it 2 times in a row the first time we played. And
I don't remember. We played so many times now.
we played a lot. But it was fun. I was very surprised like that you only get 8 cards to do all the stuff you need to do for a whole game, and then it doesn't feel like you're gonna get a lot going. It's only 8 cards. But in the first game I sat there and I was like, maybe this isn't clicking for me. But then we played again and things started really resonating, and then we started adding the draft element. And then we started randomizing our drafts a bit and making it more interesting for us. And then we played Speed Res Arcana, where we only had 5 minutes to play the game.
Yeah.
And it made the game great. Like,
that was so fun.
I need to try Speed Res Arcana. That sounds amazing.
It's really, really fun. But
you're basically like doing your turn as the person is finishing up their turn.
Yeah.
And then
you
going
want to
right
make
into it.
make it real intense, get a chess clock, and then have to hit it every time and set it to 3 minutes each. But yeah, Res Arcana just hits, like fires off on all cylinders. Like if I want to play a cool little, maybe slightly heavier than a filler game, that's like my go-to one at this point. Like I love that game now.
Well, yeah, it was interesting. I didn't realize that you were a bit apprehensive about it at the start. Okay. Like,
It's my number 3 for a reason because it was my least apprehensive one, but the other 2 are a bit more.
Okay. Interesting. So I can't really rank mine, but one of them, I'll start with this one because it was, Keegan, the first game you and I ever played together. I was very I had a great time playing it because met Keegan. This is where I was starting to branch out and get more board game friends. We played this game at the Dice Dojo, and man, how long we were there? 4 hours, maybe.
To clarify, that's like Chicago's big gaming store.
Yes.
They have a whole room that has 1,000 different, legitimately 1,000
More
different
than
board games
1,000.
you can take off the wall. Yeah,
Like, I could see it being like 5,000 games. On
probably.
that wall.
Any game they bring in, they put 1 copy in the library immediately. They have everything. It's insane.
Yeah, just to test out. But
Yep.
so we went there. We played. You brought some of your friends, and then another guy that has joined our group. And when I was playing it, it maybe it was a lot because I was still just getting into heavier games and stuff, and just I wasn't sure where I landed on it because it was so big and trying to remember everything because one action has how many 18 moves.
18, yeah.
18. So the game is Feudum.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot for the first time playing that, and I was just kind of like, that was a fun experience because we got to play with everyone, and everyone was kind of like, I had a fun time because I kind of like, I screwed Mark over, like the one, he put the boat out, and I was like, hey, I'll take a boat. He's like, damn you. So it was just a fun experience in general. And then we decided to play again because we're like, we need to do this more just because of how much this game is. And then we were trying to do a monthly time, and just it kind of grew over me realizing how great this game is as I started to understand more complex games, and now I have it in my collection.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take that first game?
Oh God, we were playing a
3.5 hours.
Something like that. Yeah.
But we also played 5 players, and only one other person there played before, so he was kind of like, we all made the rule of like, you have to watch the rules video before you show up because we're not doing a full teach the day of.
Yep.
So our friend Jonathan was there strictly to moderate and be like, no, you can't do this, or make sure don't forget about this stuff. But
because even watching the videos was like, we still needed someone to go over the rules before we started playing. So, yeah.
Hammond, have you played it before?
I haven't. No, it's I don't know if it's for me. I think I was watching one of your other chats, one of your ones with Carly, and I saw that you sometimes like having like Keegan, especially. You said you could read a rulebook, but you don't often get the idea of how the game's going to play. Was that?
Yep.
Whereas I'm the opposite, where I'm pretty good at being able to read a rulebook and be going, I don't think this is for me, or this, or on the other side, knowing this seems like it could be interesting, but I need to see how it interacts with people to be able to get it. But I think Feudum's just not for me. It might just be the rule book was badly written. I don't know.
It's a lot. I had to make a cheat sheet rule book for that game. Even my cheat sheet's 10 pages long, so it's hefty.
Just the nature of that game. It's almost like you got to play it with someone who knows it, that can help you navigate through those 18 different actions that one action can do.
Yeah.
And mostly where it all connects then. Like how it all
looks
goes together.
It looks gorgeous and interesting though.
Yeah.
It's a beast for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's swing back around to Hammond.
Back to me. My next game. Let's tease it a bit. I'll talk about it, and then I'll mention what the name is. How about that?
Yeah.
So this is a game. Again, it's another sort of a much beloved classic kind of game. It's a lot of people's favorite game, and I thought when the iPad version came out for this game, I'm like, great, I'll download it and see how this game goes. Tap, 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 tap. Don't really, go through the tutorial, play a couple of games. I don't really know what I'm doing. Am I just clicking on things? I'm just turning some resources into some other resources. Yeah.
You remind us of our friend Aiden. That is exactly. It's just like this game is just it's another turn resources into other things. Okay. Go on.
And so then I go to a local gaming convention. As I briefly mentioned earlier, we don't really have very many in Australia, let alone locally. And I met some people there, and they're like, "Hey, we're playing this game. This is Karen's favorite game. She's happy to teach you." And this lovely woman, she will sit and play this game every day of a convention. Like for a 3-day convention, she'll just play it all day, every day. People come in, she'll teach it, she'll play it. And the game is Agricola.
Dang. Okay.
I love Agricola now. It is one, I think I prefer Caverna, but I think it's just something that was definitely lost without the other people playing. When you're just playing with a computer, and even I don't know what the iPad version's like these days, but originally it was very zoomed in, and you had to sort of move around to find where the reed was and where the clay was and see the actions. It was just hard to see the overall whole picture of the game. Yeah. And yeah, again, another thing probably from a bad first experience. Probably not the best game to learn by yourself just on an iOS tutorial. But it has helped finding a small community of people that it's their game. And now whenever I go to a local convention, a couple of times a year, the first thing I do on 9 a.m. Saturday morning is I sit down with this woman and some friends, and we play a 6-player game of Agricola every time.
Wow.
Yep.
I can't even imagine how tight the board gets with 6 players for the action selection.
It's so tight.
And
It's super brutal.
it's brutal, but that just that dynamic is I really love that now you've created this little a community, little group amongst yourselves. It's just this is our little tradition that we love doing, and I think that is so awesome that you have that.
And everyone's as cutthroat as each other, but also as apologetic as everyone else. So it's just a nice place, a nice thing to do with people. And it's easy to forget with how often we all learn new games all the time, and we're always teaching games, to be able to sit down with 6 people that know the intricacies of a game and just be like, here's some cards, here's your things, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's pretty. That doesn't happen often with us, just because we're playing so many new ones, and especially now that we're starting to review games, we have to keep playing new ones. But yeah, we have a couple games too like that where Root, Feudum's becoming like that, where we kind of all know it now. Maybe maybe a quick little like brief little like reminder of what's going on. But yeah, that's always really nice, and very very jealous that like of that little dynamic that you got going on with your with like convention family. I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah. Keegan, what's your second one?
Yeah, my second one. So I thought this game was fine. That's the end. No, I thought it was fine the first time I played it. I can't remember why I even bought the game. Or who suggested. I don't even know how I found out about it. I don't remember anything about my history with this game.
Was it on special?
It might have been. I don't know. Like, it was super early in my me getting into the hobby. It was really early on, and played it. Yeah, it's good. I'll keep it for now. Maybe I just don't get it yet. But then every time I play it, I always say I need to bring this game out more, and then it never comes back out for like 6 months. But then I play it again, and I say the same thing. It never ends. And I really like it now every time it comes to the table, and that's Istanbul. I'm not a huge fan. Like, if I have one complaint about Root, which is my favorite game of all time, it feels like a race game in a way where you're just trying to get to 30 points and then it's over. Which I almost wish that they'll come up with like a scenario thing where like the cats only win if this happens and the birds win if this happens, and you're trying to block people's win conditions off. I would think that would be more interesting for a game like that.
Like an Inish feeling?
Yeah, somewhat like that.
Only more asymmetric?
More asymmetric, yeah. But Istanbul, I think, is my favorite straight up just a race game. Just get to that certain amount of gems and you win. Like, I think that game just works really, really well. I think it works great. It's a nice casual 2-player game, but it feels really good at 4 players when you're really blocking spaces off and throwing people into jail. It's a lot of fun. My wife likes it a lot too. And then Ryan, you and I played together, and you and I played it once, and you went out and bought it. It's just a really solid. Like, there's not a big rules overhead too. Like, there's a few people at my work in the office that are gamers, and one of them is kind of getting into the hobby because their partner is a gamer. And so we would have lunch meetups, and Istanbul is one of the games I brought into a lunch meetup. And the fact that you can teach it quickly over an hour lunch break and play a full game of it, I think is great. And it feels really rewarding because you're finding your paths, you're finding routes to go to, you're figuring out what you want to do. It's a really solid, like, mid lightweight game, I think. And
so you were a bit apprehensive when you first played it?
Yeah, I thought it was just like whatever. Like, I thought it was just like you're getting it. I was like, oh great, you're just trying to get gems and it's over. And it's like, well, obviously you want to go get your cart upgraded first because you get more space for stuff, and then you also get a gem on top of it. Definitely take that route. Yeah. But then every time I played that route, I lost. I was like, what am I not getting? It's just one of those games where it's just like every time it comes to the table, like whenever it does, it's just I need to get this out again, and I forget about it. And I'm sure with the expansions that would just increase like my want to play it more. But
interesting.
Yeah, okay. I've never played Istanbul. I think it's one that I probably, like yourself, Keegan, I just sort of dismissed it. I thought, oh yeah, it's. I think I had a dodgy experience with 5 Tribes. I think, and they kind of came out around the same time. And I probably, like, I've got Yokohama, and they seem like they've got very similar DNA, but I like the sound of the race element in Istanbul, which isn't as, like, Yokohama definitely can be like raced to the finish, but just something on that lighter end of the spectrum to be able to bring it with everyone.
Yeah, it's fun, and I'm same thing with you. I picked up 5 Tribes on 3 separate occasions now, and every time I'm like, I'm gonna like it this time, and every time like, this game kind of just is not for me. I don't like it.
That one did not make this list for me. This
list, Keegan's was. I tried to make this one work.
Yeah, if anything with Five Tribes, that was a game where I liked less and less every time I played it because I got more and more disappointed. Like maybe I just don't get it. Why do people like this one? And I got it because I've had a huge kick of 2-player games lately, and that's a game everyone says it plays 4, but it's best at 2. And I played it with just my wife. I don't know how many times, and then like both of us are like, this is kind of whatever. Maybe we just don't like maybe we just don't like Mancala style games, but.
But did you like what is it? What's the why can't I not remember it? The Mancala, the Roman one that has the Mancala.
Trajan.
Trajan.
No,
thank you. Did you play it?
Yeah.
I haven't played Trajan yet.
No. Okay. I'm curious to
I know,
know how you.
It's blasphemy because it's like Feld's best game apparently, but
It's interesting. I'm curious to see what you think of that, as far as that type of mechanic goes. But
yeah. Ryan, do your number 2 and let's snake draft back so Hammond can finish off because he's the guest.
Okay. Okay. So then. Okay. I guess the next one I'll go with in. I was trying to think. So it was difficult because it's not really where I didn't like it and it grew on me. I liked it because I played it at a different player count. And that was a recent game, and that was Red Outpost. We did a review of that video, that game. That it was a Kickstarter, and I had just recently, not too long ago, received it. And we played with 4 players, and I just felt like very hamstrung. There wasn't much I could do. It just didn't give me a good feeling. And then I was like, well, we do need to play this again because we're doing a review, and I'm not going to do a review with just one play. And we played with 3 players, and I was like, this is so much better. I like it. I felt like I could do more. I was in control of it more. I didn't win, but I was like, I enjoyed it so much more. I had that feeling of control that I like in games. And so I guess now I'd say I'd only play, like, I never played at 4. I don't like it that way.
Don't play it at 2 either. Just
no. Okay, so you played it. So you're saying don't play at 2 either, eh?
No. The Red Outpost has come and left my collection. But yes, I would agree. I didn't play it at 3, but I would agree. It seems like it would be good at that level. Just wasn't a right fit for my collection, but definitely not a 2. 2 was definitely too simplistic.
Okay.
And like not enough happening. And 4 is a bit too much. You've lost that control. I think 3 sounds like the perfect number for that.
So originally I was going to be like we first played it, I was like, oh no, I don't know if this is staying in my collection. This is not good. And of course Aiden and Bram just goes, I'll buy it from you. And I was like, well, before I go and sell it, I need to play it some more. And now that I play at 3, I will keep it. It won't play as much, but I will only play it, at 3 player because it is a lot better, a lot more interesting. I like the strategy a bit more, and the fact that in a round everyone has the same amount of turns works much better than that weird, like, sometime in one round 2 people are going to have more moves than the other people, and so that weird thing they do. But
I'm curious now then too, because Ryan, we've had discussions about this before, but you are much more of a strategical player, and I'm more on the tactical side of things with games. Hammond, where do you fall in line on those 2?
I would like to be a strategic player, but I am definitely a more fly by the seat of my pants kind of just what like we were saying before with Power Grid, is like whatever feels good, I'll go with it. Just see what I'm more of a less even so than tactical. I'm probably more of a poker at games. I was like, what does this do if I do this? But definitely more. I'm just not good at sticking to a long-term strategy. I have the ideas, but I just can't commit.
That's always you, Keegan, at the end. Like, I did not stick to this plan, or like I should have. Or you and Max, both you and Max do it.
I see another route open up. I'm like, ooh, I can do this really quick, and there'll be a huge payoff. And I'm like, I didn't prepare for this enough. That's not gonna work.
And just the way my brain works, I really love calculating out the best route and try to stick to it as much as possible.
And I'm not sure about your statistics in your group. Do you win more of the time, Ryan, than other people?
Yeah.
Depends on the style of game.
It's the style of game. Euro, like, Euro heavier, medium weight ones, yes, I do tend to, because they do have that element of
If
the
you
best
make a strategy
strategic
and stick
route,
with
yeah,
it,
and just like calculating which moves are going to be the most beneficial.
But games that are
yeah.
games that are more like tactical games, like I'm better like playing in the moment than planning. Like any
yeah.
type of spatial awareness game you do fairly poorly in.
Yes, I do very bad in those games.
But like any game with a bit more openness, I tend to do slightly better. I think Max
Yeah.
is the same way. Like I at least with our group, I haven't lost in Feudum yet. So
Yeah.
it's just that game is more sandbox and do what you want.
Yep. Yeah, it is hard to go with a single strategy because you do kind of have to
Do everything.
do everything and kind of play in the moment a bit, which I struggle a lot with. Yeah. But surprisingly, like the Owari game, the one that Max just is really good at because it's just about timing and just playing that moment. I really love it. Really love it, but don't really win. I don't really do great at it, but I think just that particular, whatever it is about that particular game, the theme, just everything, the simplicity was just, I really love that one.
Hammond, have you played The King is Dead?
I played it last night, in fact.
Oh.
What did you think of it?
I really liked it.
Okay.
We just played it at 2. It was super interesting.
I was asking about that because I'm wondering if, Ryan, this will be your type of game or not. Like, I feel like it'd be Max's style of game because it's very much you have to know when you're going to play your hand and when you're not going to do something.
Yeah, I think
I'm so bad at it.
We played a couple of games back to back last night. One of my friends came up from Melbourne, which is about an hour away from where I am. By the way, for anyone watching, I'm obviously not in Chicago. I'm not in the US. It's sunny in springtime. I'm in Ballarat in Victoria in Australia. So one of my friends came up from Melbourne and we played a couple of games. And we played The King is Dead just towards the end. We both... he'd played it before, so he sort of taught me what we were doing. Both of us kind of went sort of a bit more tactical, I suppose, but we recognized that, because you only have 8 cards to play the whole game with, if you know what needs to be done and how to play it, you definitely, a long-term strategy would definitely win out overall, I think. But also, it's over in 20 minutes and you can play it again.
And I guess what's interesting though, you said like Keegan that I'm not good at those type of games where timing and stuff needs to come into heavy, but I am very good at manipulating a board, like manipulating the people on the board to do what I need them to do for it to be beneficial for me, for like, let's just say what is the big box game? Why am I spacing? It has like so it's a very big like area control game with the tower that you can put your meeples inside the tower.
El Grande.
Yeah, El Grande. Thank you. And to manipulate the other players into betting or doing things at a certain time and getting a certain action that I need at a very specific time. I'm very good at that manipulation. But then when it comes to being able to play, like the time, like timing everything, I'm so bad at. So,
well, Ryan's saying he's evil.
I am evil. I can be manipulative in games. Yes.
Then you definitely must play The King is Dead because half of the game is just taking a pass action and letting other people do the things you want them to do for you. So,
yes.
We'll have to pick it up and play it at some point.
I do like playing. I'm very big about playing off of other players' moves and what they do. Yeah. I know Kat in the Tricarian got real mad.
To be fair, it's
we
because
did
we played
do it wrong. Yes. But I do like doing that. Yes. Okay. So my last one, and is one we did recently just do a review video on, but it's still not one that I'm like went to really like, but I have a better opinion of it, and that's PAX Pamir. Second edition. The first couple times I played it, I hated it. Absolutely hated it. I thought it just wasn't my style. I felt so not in control. I felt like I felt so, I guess, hamstrung that I couldn't really do a lot, or felt like I was actually making any sort of progress towards a goal. And I think it was mostly because I just didn't understand how to play off these the suit dominance, suit markers, and getting those free actions and manipulating your spies a bit more, and how to manipulate the armies and roads. When we played again for our review video, we played with 3 players. I started to understand it a bit more. I was liking it. So I had a better. I wasn't so just like, no, this is just an absolute no. I still don't think that I'm gonna play it a lot, but I have a better feeling of it, and I'm like, okay, if it gets brought out, we play it. I'll at least enjoy myself a bit more. I don't know if it's the player count or just simply just understanding the game more, but that's what happened with our latest play.
I think that's definitely something that is not a fault of the PAX games, but a barrier to entry, I suppose, of the PAX games, that all of them have that same sort of feeling to them, I suppose, that it's really hard. Like, I find I really enjoy PAX Renaissance as well. And I've played it many times. A lot of times in lockdown, actually. But so I still rarely know what's going on. But I think I like it.
I'm gonna have to call you then whenever I get my copy in, because I backed the Kickstarter for it. So instead of reading the monster rule books that PAX games have, I'll just call you and be like, can you just teach this to me really quick?
Yeah, happy. We'll play it over TTS. It's actually quite a good mod that's on there, actually.
That'd be great.
PAX Renaissance. Oh, kitty. Sorry.
They'll be hopping around for a bit. They just woke up from their naps.
So yeah, that was. Oh, and then I do have a little my honorable mention, the one that I was saying earlier that I want to like more. I similar to the tiny towns. I'm sure you can guess, Keegan, which one it is. I really hate just pure luck in games. But Quacks and Quedlinburg, I've talked about this quite a few times now, and I hated it. I won, like handily won the first time, but I felt like I only won out of pure luck, and it didn't feel good. I was like, whatever, I won because everyone else just happened to pull worse than me. Whatever. And I heard that people say that the expansion helps kind of mitigate some of that luckness, and I'm hoping that I want to play it with that to see if I can just enjoy it, because I want it to be just like this, I guess, smaller, lighter way, just something fun to do with people maybe that aren't as big into board games, whatever group you might be playing with at the time, that I'd like to bring it into the collection and just kind of enjoy it for what it is.
It's one of those games that I think you don't play the game to win that game. You play that game to have a goofy time.
Yeah, it's blackjack with a bag. It's and I think the reason that it becomes I think, as you're saying, Ryan, you don't want to like it in a way because it's just luck based.
Yeah.
But I think because you're in complete control of what's happening, it gives you like, I think I've done well, so I'm going to be able to do this, and and then sometimes you blow up after 3 pulls from the bag, and sometimes you go all the way around. You're like, where are these things? Like, why? I know it doesn't feel fair, but I think it doesn't outstay for that, for the length of time it takes to do that.
It moves quick, and there's like a catch-up mechanic if someone's totally getting stomped the entire game. And then we made it into a drinking game, so we made it more interesting. If your pop blows up, you have to drink Malort, which is Chicago's famous horrible liquor that tastes like feet. It's awful, but
feet, and gives you a really bad grapefruit aftertaste that lingers forever.
But it makes your stomach feel good because it was made to be a cure-all. So it's just really herby.
Try it if you can, for anyone listening, and but
I'm Chicago.
It's
Don't know right now.
it's I guess because I am such a strategic player, and that's just the style that I really love, that I need to just try to, like, with other games, just realize, okay, just be there for fun. Don't try to go in it trying to win, try to strategic. Just have fun with this bag builder that push your luck, have some fun, blow up at times, whatever.
What I'm hearing, Ryan, is that you're a control freak. And if you're,
that's true. It is.
If you can't control the game, then
it is, yeah.
It gets to be too much at times.
I mean, yeah, probably. I don't disagree. And I gotta try to work on just have fun with some of them and let them realize that those are the games. Just go into it knowing that that's what you're there for.
Not every game is made to be a hardcore play to win. Sometimes they're just there to have fun with people that have a night. But we'll go to my last one, which is not one of those games. And I'll keep this short because Hammond already brought it up. And that is Agricola.
Oh.
I played that really, really early into getting into the gaming hobby. And the first time I played with my mom. And I hated it. I hated it so much. I was like, this is the game that's like converting people to be gamers? No, how? I hate this. For me at the time, the cards were too much. I thought that what you're doing with the board and what you're trying to do with your farm, I thought was enough. And then adding cards on top of it, which now I'm understanding that's the actual game is the cards. I just didn't appreciate that at the time, and I thought it was stupid, and I hated it. And there's a friend of ours, Dan, who is a huge Uwe Rosenberg fanatic. He loves everything Uwe releases. And I was like, nah, no thanks, not a fan. But then I got Fields of Arla at a Black Friday sale, and I played that and really liked Fields of Arla. I was like, maybe I don't hate everything Uwe did.
Was that was you and I playing it the first time you played it? Okay.
And that was like my maybe Uwe knows what he's doing type thing. And then we played Feast for Odin, and I really enjoyed that. I think I like Arla more slightly still.
Interesting. Okay.
But then I picked up Agricola because someone was selling it for $20, and I was like, "That's super cheap. I'll pick it up and see what happens this time." And fell in love with it, and bought the Moors expansion and bought 2 of the decks, and showed it to my wife because my wife's a huge farming sim gamer, and we played that, and it was great. A 2-player as well. It's a game I don't think I'm going to give up now. It had the biggest transition from hate to love.
I didn't know you liked it that much. I thought maybe you just kind of switched it up because I knew you really hated it, and then you sort of I thought you just were coming around to it lukewarm on it. I didn't realize you actually
the week I got
flipped.
it. The week I got it, I played it 10 times.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Look,
It hard transitioned real quick.
That is a real good transition. Yeah. Okay.
A quick little story on Agricola. So both Keegan and I sort of had a bad first impression of Agricola. When I was probably about a year ago now, because I haven't been outside for that long. I was in a board gaming cafe with a friend of mine, and we were playing something, and there was a couple that had come in for like a date night or something. They obviously weren't like experienced. I think they played like Connect 4 or something first. Then one of them goes over to the shelf, and they're like, Agricola, I've heard of this one. And they brought it to the table, and I was like, I saw them getting it out, and they're like reading through the rule book, and I was like, I went over to them and I'm like, if you want, I can teach it to you, but like, just ignore all these like occupation cards and things. Like, if you don't know what they're like, I was like, have you played any worker placement kind of games? Like, games where you put down your person and you can do the action. Oh no, we've never played any of that. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Yeah, but I was just really, I think I would consider myself sort of a board game ambassador. More than an evangelist, more of someone that I want to encourage and promote people to enjoy what they're doing. Yeah. And so I just like, look, I don't want you to have a bad experience. Like, I'm just over here playing a game. Just yell out if you've got questions. Don't look at the rule book. I'll help you. Yeah. And about 3 turns in, I heard one of them screaming because someone took their spot, and I'm like, yep, now you're playing the game.
That's
You've
accurate.
got it. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
Welcome
Yeah.
to board games. Don't you love it?
Oh, you can't feature people. Have fun.
Oh no, you wanted that spot? Oh, too bad. Yes, and see, I embed. That's a good term for it. I like that, and I feel like we need more people like that in the board game community, and I like to try to, especially with new players. And I think having someone that knows it and like just being able to sit there and like talk you through it kind of creates a little bit better of an experience.
Yeah.
And especially if someone is like, if you're at, like you said, a board game cafe or something, like creating that interaction or that
First good positive experience.
yeah,
with somebody.
and being so open. I like that about the board game community. I know it happens a lot in the comic book community, the nerd community, I guess you can say, all that entire everything that it envelops. People can be very just like friendly and want to because they want you to enjoy this and bring you into it. And I feel like we need more people just to like talk to strangers in a cafe and just like get them involved and get them to understand this and enjoy the time. So I appreciate that you like doing that, because I always feel like we need more, and just talking with strangers that trying to play a game for the first time or whatever, and helping them
And it's hard
through it.
because you don't want to step on someone's toes. You don't want to butt into their, like, especially if they're having a date kind of situation. You just like, I'm here if you need me, but I don't want to like interrupt you. And some people are just happy doing their own thing as well. And
yeah.
you don't want to be like, you're playing this wrong.
Yeah.
I think I'm in the camp too of like, I don't like learning games in a group setting. I would rather have someone know the game already and just teach me it, instead of us all trying to figure it out together, because it feels like that always leads to complication and people talking over each other, being like, no, you can't do that yet. It's like, well, hold on, let me check. And I'm, as much as I love playing games, I'm almost, I think, equally a fan of doing what you did, Hammond, and like teaching people how to play a game and just even watching them play. Like, oh, this only plays up to 4 and there's 5 of us. I'll sit out and just teach and moderate, and I have just as much fun doing that.
Yeah.
More good people in this community. Right, Hammond, what's your number 1?
Okay. My number 1 game, I didn't do this on purpose, but I just realized the game is literally directly behind me, but you can't see it. So if you know your board game covers, it's somewhere between yellow and blue. It's in that sort of green section behind me. It's a game that I thought I wouldn't enjoy. I just looked at it and go, this isn't a game for me. I didn't even bother doing the reading the rulebook thing. I was like, no, I don't get it. Why do people want to play this game? No, it's not my thing. Fast forward like 2 years after it comes out, and my friend's like, we play this game all the time and we want to play it. This is Keegan's favorite game. This is Roots. And now I've got a whole shelf of Root. Look at it there.
Keegan and I really love that.
I just didn't think that I'm not really a Ameritrash kind of gamer. And that's, I think, even though it's folksy and cute, it kind of comes off. This is just like, it is a war game. It's a coin game. And like I'd had again a sketchy experience with Twilight Struggle, which is probably a little like a level of complication above Roots. So maybe no, I don't think this is for me. I'll just ignore it. I've got hundreds of other games. I don't need to worry about that. And then sat down and played with some friends, and just had a great time. I really like a programming game, so I played the Eerie the first time I played. Like, this is my jam. Let me just program, and like if I can have a small set of constraints to work within, and just try and not break that, then I'll be good. And now I have it all. all of the root.
Oh yeah, and you've heard that the new like their new announcement about turtles and rats, right?
Yes, it looks amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds like a great idea.
It's super exciting.
We are super excited. We've been for a while. We've been talking about trying to do a root like competition, like a several day competition, and just kind of like set up where like we'll just set up. Everyone is going to be assigned certain factions, and you're just going to go into it and to like instead of deciding points on simply who wins, but it'll be points based on faction, on how many points you can actually get will determine the points you get for the competition. And we thought that'd be a really fun thing to do, like a multiple day thing. And we are huge fans of Roots.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, Hammond. When you invited me to the game to play online before I messed it up for myself, I saw that you picked the Eerie, and I was like, damn it. So I wanted to play.
It's all right. Soon after you left that game, Ella dropped out as well. She's like, I didn't realize that I dropped. It's just bad interface for turn-based, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It plays fantastically in real time.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's one of those that. Sorry, go ahead, Keegan.
I was just saying, is Eerie still your favorite faction, or?
I think it is. I've messed around with most of them now. I really do like the Corvids. I like being a sneaky ninja. That's kind of fun. Just dropping down traps. Like, what could this be? I also play that's the faction I like to play in Scythe as well. The also
Japanese,
purple. The Japanese, that you have to put little traps down.
Yeah, Japanese is fun. That's a tricky one.
But yeah, I like a lot of them. I think often the weirder they are, the more I enjoy them. Like I would like to play the Lizard Cult with a proper group of people, just to be able to do the weirdness.
Yeah, Keegan really likes Lizard.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite faction. That I never win because they're impossible.
They are hard, but I really love Eerie and Moles are my two favorite. Eerie, I try so hard not to turmoil. I've played several games now that I've been able to win without ever turmoiling.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that becomes that like fits perfectly in my like strategic of like mathing everything out to make sure I'm going to be able to do it. Like you said, programming and just fit it all in and just.
Yep, these are my constraints. How can I make it work for me?
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. So
we're gonna have to just do a root chat one at some point.
Just a root chat, yeah. I'm very curious to see Turtles, and the fact that this game lends itself to keep opening up to. Okay, so I really love that everybody in like the fan base is creating different factions, and that it can just kind of create new metas, and like just the availability to actually like keep coming out with new factions is so cool. And I love that fact, and like I played why am I like Dota and League of Legends, whatever, the MOBA style games, and it's that like things can keep coming out and you can kind of keep balancing things and try, like the fact that there's new things to keep trying is what I really like about this game, and that the fact that this does that. And especially with the new, I don't know, do you know Super Fantasy Brawl, the new arena game that came out? It was a Kickstarter. It's like this arena style, and their goal is to keep coming out with new characters, and for each one to kind of have their own little special abilities. And I thought I really like that aspect to board games. So I really like that aspect in Brute. Yeah. So always excited when they're like make an official new faction.
And thank you everyone for listening to Root Chat.
We'll do a podcast in a podcast, Root Chat.
We'll do an official one of these at some point. Do like faction series.
And I think those sort of asymmetric games, I think also similar to the PAX games, they're so easy for people to bounce off. I didn't mention one of the reasons I was reticent to play Root is that I played Vast and I did not enjoy it, the first edition of Vast.
Okay.
So I'm like, I don't really want that in a forest. Yeah, not interested. And I've got a friend in my local group here, and a couple of us want to play some Root, and she is like, "Oh, I had a bad experience. Like, look, come with us. We'll look after you and we'll make you enjoy it. Like, well, we don't make you enjoy it, but we'll help. We'll help, or else."
But no, I was the same thing with you. I wasn't a huge fan of Vast. I think the asymmetry in that one was
Too much.
too hard. Yeah, too much of a line.
See, I really I really liked it, even though like we assigned everyone a fact, like a character beforehand, have everyone to research it. We still had to go over it so that everyone knew what everyone was doing, and it was still like we need to go back and forth to the rules and find out. But I thought it was really cool, and I liked that everyone was doing something different.
It's a fantastic idea. It's, I think, as Keegan was saying, it's a bit too asymmetric in that everyone's trying to do something completely different, whereas in Root, everyone's essentially trying to do the same thing but in a different way, where it makes it a little bit easier to understand what you're doing, what other people are doing, whereas in Fast, it's like, I'm the cave, I don't really care what the dragon's doing or whatever. I'll just do my own thing.
No, yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess it's definitely one that you need to research all of them to understand what everyone's doing, and it is a lot. It's a lot of homework, right, for a board game that I easily see how it kind of turns people off. Like, there's other games that I can have that asymmetric feeling doing these type of things that will be a bit more fun, that I don't have to do so much.
Totally.
I have the Mysterious Manor, and I really want to play it, and it's probably more for it's a particular group that wants to play it. So,
but I think based on our 3 experiences of our games that we've brought here, is that people should definitely give games another chance if they think that there's something there for them, and if you had a bad experience, maybe just examine the group of people you're with. So maybe it just wasn't. Like, maybe you played at a noisy convention and that's not really the best thing. Or maybe you played it at home with no music and no drinks and just the clock tick-tocking in the corner. And what you really needed was some sort of excitement. And the situational effect can really hamper or heighten your enjoyment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always play a game twice, because you never know.
True. And play it at different player counts, because maybe you like something more. It gives you a different dynamic, and
definitely
do that. Wow.
All right, that was awesome. That was a great chat. There's some hard stuff to think about. Thank you again to Hammond.
Yes, thank you so much.
Great.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for. Is it a public holiday, Black Friday? I don't really get it.
It's a nightmare holiday.
It's
a nightmare holiday.
It's an excuse to spend money. I don't know. For businesses to make a lot of money. I don't know. It's a
big mess. But
I mean, it's always good to find some good board game deals. So look forward to it. So, is it worldwide?
It is. Black Friday sales are definitely a worldwide thing, even though we don't have Thanksgiving, and Cyber Monday's a thing. All of these things are just too close together now. Like, because you got Prime Day, and then there's like Singles Day, and then you've got Black Friday and Cyber Monday. It's like basically 2 months of sales, and then Christmas.
10 years from now, there's gonna be a retail holiday every day of the year. Just wait.
Hey, I mean, I'm okay. Sales every day of the year? Fine. Okay. But we appreciate it. That was actually a really good topic. A lot, because hard to actually think about. Like, I don't have many games that I've actually warmed up to. It's always like I liked it, or I end up getting rid of it, or slowly just phased myself out of it. And it's always hard to get people to want to play something that they didn't initially have a good reaction to. Sometimes hard to convince them to actually play again.
Let's give it another go. Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, Hammond, we'll put your social information in the description. Everyone go follow Hammond. He has great content, great posts.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to plug? Anything people to know about?
No, nothing going on in my life. nothing at the moment.
Fair enough.
I do run a local or help run a local convention here in Ballarat. It's on usually the Halloween weekend, but that did not happen this year. So if you remember October next year, maybe look us up if you happen to be on this side of the world.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I really hope they have Gen Con this year. That's our pretty big one in the United States. So
Yeah.
And it's not till August, so hopefully we're good by then. So I really want to go because I couldn't go this year.
That'd be nice.
Thank
But
you
yeah,
so
Hammond,
much.
we'd love to have you back again sometime. Have some
Yeah.
other chats.
And
Even
do
do our in-depth root chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some live playthroughs.
That'd be great.
Yeah, should be
do
good.
more of those.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks, gents. It was great.
Thanks.
Right. Bye,
See ya.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.